And welcome to Movie Nonsense, everybody. Opening this week, direct from the Sundance Film Festival, it's Flea.
Oh,
Wait a second. Pretty sure that's not it. No. What's happening with Flea is it's a rare animated documentary, so pretty interesting movie you want to check out.
also this week, Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. We'll see if this dance-heavy movie can find an audience without calling itself Step Up West Side. It's Monday Movie Nonsense! Welcome to Monday Movie Nonsense, happening every Monday at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, whether we're ready for it or not, whether we spent the entire weekend doing other things or not.
This show is not surprisingly starting late. If you're not sluggish after the weekend that
you weren't with us.
We attended, you weren't with us.
But hey, if you've watched us on the Movie Trivia Schmoedown or saw us all weekend, you know we're all about the nonsense. Definitely, if you saw us last night, you know we're all about the nonsense. And hey, this show is going to be new and different nonsense every week. Even if we're tired, we're going to do a show and wrap up what's coming out in movies and what we did in relation to movies and movie trivia contests. So hey, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Hit the alarm bell, by the way, because we've got a bunch of friends. Yeah, we got a bunch of friends that do these shows, and somehow my alarm bells got turned off. And Video Drew started a new show, and I hadn't seen it. And Mara is still doing the basement show, and I was like, my alarm bells were off. I don't know how on all these things. So hit the alarm bell, and it'll bug you, send you a text, and say, hey, you'll catch some nonsense.
Let's school me on that, because I thought when you subscribed, you got alerts, but you have to both subscribe and hit the bell to get alerts that new shows are coming out.
Right. There's a little bell there, and that'll give you alerts and let you know, hey, Paul and Adam are doing some nonsense right now.
Also, you'll get the bell when we're uploading a new Ford Fiesta, or we have some red carpet thing we're doing, or comedy video to and from, who knows? So yeah,
anything from the world of the movie guys. Good
call,
and it's always worth watching, right? We're infinitely watchable. So anyway, and of course, you can look up all the stuff. You got movieguys.net. We post anything we do. We guest shot on all these shows in the Schmoedown universe, and usually bring some bits to that. So we post all that on the movieguys.net. And if you forget all that, just search the Movie Guys anywhere on the internet. You can go to Yahoo or Google or Well, we did get Google and Bing there, so that was
we're both a little hyped on the buttons. Yeah, that's good.
Double dropped, yeah. We didn't plan out who was going to do buttons today.
Then let's get to the weekend, because many of you watching are probably aware of us through the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, and this was the grand finale of the the season 8 of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. So it happened in Los Angeles with something they called the Schmoedown Spectacular. This is where all 4 belts, that's right, this is a movie trivia league where you can win and maintain a belt for
just
your
like wrestling.
Singles, Inner Geekdom, which is all what it sounds like, geek-type movies.
Yeah.
Superheroes and swashbuckling and it's sci-fi, etc.
Harry Potter.
And then teams and all Star Wars, which Adam has competed in the past, and I will not. So that they had all the belts in the line in a special match and a whole bunch of stuff downtown LA at the Globe Theater. And yeah, it was a lot, because it's not just that. It's parties and all sorts of other stuff from like Thursday right on through Sunday night.
I mean, there were like, because we, in this environment, we are on these shows, we put on the Schmoedown, and we've just got a whole world of people that we respond, many of which we're seeing responding here, and everybody came into town. I mean, from everywhere. And it was just this huge triumphant. I mean, we weren't even a part of half of it. I mean, all these people were having their own parties and stuff. Everybody got Airbnbs. And, it's all these people that we relate to through the Schmoedown because we all are obsessed with movies, and that's why we have this show. That's why Paul and I are friends. And so it's just really this gathering of, what was it, 500, 600 people at the Globe Theater, just obsessed with movies. And then we went to parties after that, and parties after that party, and parties after that party, and then
let's go in order.
Let's go in order.
Thursday night is when a lot of people seem to first come to town. I ironically had a corporate movie trivia event down in Newport Beach. This is my new thing, which is cool.
Yeah,
I've been bringing
him.
Yeah, hire me.
Yeah,
go to gigsalad.com. Look up Paul Preston and hire me for your corporate event. I bring trivia goods to your place, and it's tough, coming up with trivia for mortals,
for humans, right?
For humans, for muggles.
That's what I said about the FCL when they started the FCL. I go, oh, it's movie trivia for human beings. It's a little easier.
Maniacs.
Yeah.
So but it went very well. I had a gig in Newport Beach, like at a bay club, that was just lined with yachts right on the water. I'm like, okay, do these people know who played Alan Grant? I tried to keep it simple in Jurassic Park, right? So, but overall, it went very well. There was, I can get little broader than I can with the movie Trivia Schmoedown because I did visual cues, name that character.
Sure.
And I had a picture of Malcolm X and Ed Wood. Ed Wood stumped a lot of people, Forrest Gump, etc. And Aaron Brockovich, Mary Poppins, Lone Ranger. You got to name the character, not the actor.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the third round was the chance to where it could all go back and forth, but not because of a 5-pointer, but because of potential of 3 1-pointers per question. So it was I play music from a movie, name the artist, name the song, name the film it's from. You get one of those, you get 1 point. You get all 3, you get 3 points. So someone, sure enough, came from behind in the third round and won, which was pretty exciting after another team had 2 perfect round 1 and round 2. So coming up with the game like that, for regulars, was exciting that it pulled off as well as it did. That being said, I got invited by Jillian Molisanto. What is her last name? Jillian Marie. You call her Jillian Marie. There it is.
Well, Jillian Marie. Yeah, I was about to say Jillian Marie, but you're right. Mansolino, I think is her last name.
Mansolino. There it is.
Yeah, but Jillian Marie.
And she had a big birthday party, and sure enough, it became Schmoedown Central for all sorts of people to show up. Now, I know, Adam, you were bogged down with promos, right?
Yeah, so I got to pretend I was Nerd Chronic for the last week and a half, and because Nerd Chronic wanted to have a life. I mean, imagine that. But Nerd Chronic, has edited every promo and every show for the last, I don't know how long, 6 years or something, 5 years or something. And, after this season was 150 some shows, and, and he did promos for each one of these, and it's like, enough for the moment. I want to take a break. So he decided to take off, and rightfully so. I mean, if you've done as much work as he's done, the amount of work that we had to put in, it took 3 people to replace one Nerd Chronic. It was me, Abby, and Gold Leader. And so we did the promos for the show, which, and it's also, it's a lot of pressure because you want to hype the audience up. And I've watched plenty of these shows where we're already excited for the belt match. We're already excited for, Merle versus Adam Collins. And then you watch the promo and you're like, now I'm really excited. So I really wanted to make sure the audience had that feel as well. But yeah, I wasn't able to make it out Thursday night to one of my favorite bars, Residuals in Burbank. And I was like, oh, it'd be so fun to hang out with those guys at Residuals. I really like that bar. And just wasn't able to make it, but I heard how many people showed up for this thing, Paul.
It was packed. I didn't even go in the bar. I'm like, I'm not going in that bar. This is like, some crazy Floridian unmasked, So I hung out outside, but I peeked in to, of course, wish Jillian a happy birthday. Yeah. But even outside, I saw, that's the first time I saw people who I've only seen in this format have bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, someone said that. Someone said, "Oh, I always thought everyone was this tall."
Yeah.
But now you actually meet them out in life and you're like, "Oh, Thomas
Gubbins.
Harper."
Yeah, turns out Peggy Gubbins is like 9 feet tall. So
hi, Peggy. Hi, Thomas.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 9 feet tall too, and so it's everyone's shorter than me, but it was cool to see a bunch of.
But it also is like you're I'm fans of these people, and now I've got the experience. Like, we came into the Schmoedown, we're in the studio, we're meeting everybody, we're making friends with Ken Knapsack, shaking hands and all this sort of stuff. And so now all these people that I've got to know entirely over Zoom, it was like meeting. I felt like now a Schmoedown fan who had followed all these careers, and now I got to meet all these people. I mean, Thomas Harper, you meet Thomas Harper in person, you're like, we've had a lot of contact with each other. We played each other, we did a promo together that we shot together and stuff, and it's just like, and then all the fans too. And the great one was, because I'd worked on the FCL, the First Class League, not minor league, but the developmental league, the digital league for the Schmoedown. And so I got to know all those people through their promos and never talked to any of them. And so we walked down, and there is Travis Fishburne holding the FCL belt. I think the best looking belt, actually, of the whole thing. And I was like, oh, it's Travis Fishburne. So I walked up to him like a total fan. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good to meet you and stuff. Crazy thing. He talks with this crazy New Orleans accent in all of his promos. And I really never knew where the guy was from. The guy's from Columbus, Ohio, just outside Columbus, Ohio. Everybody I met was from Ohio. We have such a Schmoedown Ohio contingent. It was amazing. Yeah.
So that was fun, even though I said it was like overpacked, but everyone I think thought that. But it was good to see a lot of faces. Did you go to Video Drew's barbecue?
I didn't make it to that either.
But that was another thing that happened on Friday. Then, of course, on Saturday morning, we get to
bright and early.
Got a graphic here. The Fan Expo.
Right. Now this was cool. This is such a great thing.
Yeah, and here's someone chiming in saying the same. Great to meet you this past weekend. Had a fun time.
And nice to meet you, Randy.
That is absolutely true. And we brought the goods. We try and get weird with this kind of stuff. So we had our table full of all sorts of nonsense.
Movie guys nonsense.
Famous for. Here's some, for example. We were signing not our own photos, but photos of Harrison Ford, because we run this Ford Fiesta podcast and we're obsessed with the guy. So we would sign. There's a picture of him from Morning Glory. We also had one I think we have here from Ender's Game. Yeah.
Your choices were Morning Glory or Ender's Game, which we thought was really funny. You had two options of Harrison Ford photos for us to sign, and it was
Indiana Jones and Han Solo.
No. And I just get such a kick out of when we say the bits. One of the bits, of course, was also here have John Roca's phone number. Is John Roca's phone number there? Which is our parody phone number.
That's in the wider shot. Yeah, that's in this one here. You can see it in the bottom corner.
Yeah. So would you like us to sign a photo of Harrison Ford? Would you like Morning Glory or Ender's Game? And here, take John Roca's phone number, which is a parody phone number. And he does, just to pull back the veil, he does record outgoing voicemails in which he's annoyed that we've given out his number. And it's a running joke. So what is that number? 323? I can't read it. Anyway. But, yeah.
Oh, I can tell you. It was updated for the I don't believe it was updated for the event, but it's 323-529-0996.
Yeah.
There you go. You two can call and bother John Roca.
And bother John Roca, who's such a prince and records these voice messages for us each time, pretending he's annoyed. And it's the last time we'll pull back the veil. It's really his number, and he's really annoyed.
Well, will he still help us out, with when he's retired now? I hope so. We'll have to bother him. The outlaw's sitting here on the beach in San Diego trying to enjoy the sun, and these two numb nuts,
My favorite thing is at the end of the outgoing voice message where he's annoyed that we've given out his number. He's like, I can't believe these guys call me. Anyway, listen to watch my show on the Outlaw Network. He advertises the show on his outgoing voicemail now that he realizes people are calling. It's funny. But yeah, it was like being a part of a Comic-Con. I've never had the experience of a Comic-Con, but they're basically, for a bunch of nerds, movie nerds like us who obviously go to Comic-Con and stuff like that, to, be there, sit there, have a table, people come up, say hi, and very complimentary. I mean, my goodness, it's so good because, I feel like we do a lot of this stuff into the void. I mean, we got viewers and we talk to them here and stuff like that, but it's like to have people come up and go, yeah, that really find this nonsense funny.
And Garth's got the right idea. We should have done this when we handed out the signs.
Right.
Here, pick it up. Take it. Take the photo.
Take it.
You take this photo.
You take it
home.
Hold on, where's my? I gotta throw a horde of Harrison Ford drop in.
We
here.
have so much damn media.
Major move!
There we go.
Oh,
Major move.
And then, of course, we were ripe with shenanigans as well. We absconded with the Jen Sturger standee, which
Sure.
which, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that, right?
Right.
But we had our own standee. Of course, people were posing with our own Harrison Ford, and when they had Harrison Ford clothes on, we did that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
it was so much fun. It's really, really cool. And that's how we started our day. And that was early in the morning. Gosh, we were up quite early and doing that. And then the day was just off and running. And what a production! What a production! This team that put these things on. It's just incredible.
Spectacular. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here bitching about a hour-long live stream in shorts for the shirt I wore last night. But man, I mean, this just was just a gigantic production. That stage and all the events, and the crowd was so hyped. What a great venue.
Here's a little brief look at it.
Yeah, there it is.
Can't quite see the crowd, but this is a classic theater, the Globe downtown. Yeah. I love when the old downtown theaters get repurposed again for theaters, and even for movies. Like, I've done a couple of events at the Orpheum now where they show movies, and it's glorious because so many of these old theaters have been turned into like jewelry marts or something nasty.
Yeah, and they still got the marquee out top, and then there's something else inside. I think there was one that had an old school, like the Rialto or something downtown. Or I don't know if I got that name right, but it has this beautiful marquee, and it's like Urban Outfitters, and inside is an Urban Outfitter. That's what's across the streets. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, there's a lot of them like that. The Los Angeles Theater, I think, is the next to kind of be reborn. Of course, the old United Artists ones is part of Ace Hotel now. That's been completely rejuvenated, and tons of events take place there in the Orpheum and now the Globe. Slowly but surely, yeah, I'd like to see downtown hop again in that respect. It's still a rough place to go.
Still rough.
Even the walk from my parking lot to the Globe was like, oh.
Well, I mean,
everybody in from out of town. This is not what the entire place looks like. Please go to Hollywood, go to like go to the Valley, go to, when you go to Barney's, which eventually everyone ended up at Barney's Beanery in Burbank. It's you're in suburbia, so it's all good.
Yeah, no, the street that the Globe is on is just one of the last old school streets of downtown. As various streets on either side of it start getting nicer and nicer, and certainly south of there's all these breweries, and you can go on like brewery boat tours and stuff, and that's just like 10 blocks away or something. So yeah, they've rejuvenated downtown, but they've kind of started in a concentric circle, and they're working their way in. And the last, right in the middle, at the end, there is the Globe. So yeah, it's old school.
Yeah, Broadway's rough. Broadway, Hill, those couple streets down there.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. My uncle comes into work every once in a while to do some work for cell phone company, and they always put him in a hotel downtown. And so I always go downtown and take him somewhere. And there's a really nice street, like adjacent to a good street, that I was trying to take him to show him. But we ended up walking down one of these really bad streets down there, like 7th Avenue. And it's like homeless people and all this stuff. And I'm like, I swear this was cleaned up. And I go, let's just walk one block that way. And we did. And it was like beautiful.
Yep.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you're in from out of town, you don't know. You go the wrong way and it gets worse. And you're in Skid Row. It's like,
Yeah.
Here's a question, and you can answer this better than I can, Adam. I'll explain in a second, but what was your favorite match? Now, we haven't spoiled anything so far, but should we? Does it matter? Are people watching who...
I guess we're going to get into spoiler territory, so if anybody hasn't seen it yet, you might want to bow out because I understand. But I just want to say this. I did pull this. My favorite match, of course... Now, this was last night, I think, or something, and Christian asked what was everybody's favorite match, and as I said to Robert Parker, and I'm going to spoil the results of this match momentarily for anybody watching, but as I've always said, as an 0-6 competitor, if you can't win the match, win the press. If you can't win the match, win the press. And so there you go. Unfortunately, Robert Parker did not take the belt off of Mike Kalinowski. Number one, because he's good, and he's the champion. You're going in there, you're facing Hulk. Every one of these people is facing a champion, is facing Hulk Hogan. You know, the chances are Hogan's going to take that belt. And you could root for the other people all you want. And, of course, Robert Parker, is the Dungeon. I've spent some time training him, not enough time. So we got to watch. I mean, when you take the perspective back, and I really felt bad for Parker because he wanted that belt. He wanted to. But the thing is, you lose perspective of the fact that you made it. It was how many people played in the league this year? 150 or something. I mean, it was 100 people, over 100 people I think competed this year, right?
Yeah, I mean a ton. Yes,
a ton.
Like 6 factions of about 15 people. That's roughly close to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so at the end of that,
sorry, there were 9 factions, right? A dozen people on them. So yeah.
Yeah, 9 times 15. So. And at the end of the season, 9 people competed for belts in this match out of that 120-some people that competed. And one of them was Robert Parker. And so I just had to keep emphasizing to him that, like, there is an accomplishment here. I know you want to take that belt off of your opponent, but he's good. Parker's good. Parker's amazing. But, I mean, Kalinowski, he's a force. You know, I mean, there's a reason that's his 3rd time defending this belt run, 3rd time he's gotten the belt, 3rd time he's defended this belt, and this is over 4 different seasons, I think, that he's won this belt 3 times. So it's like, you're not going to beat Hulk Hogan every time, but he's going to play him again. I mean, Parker Kalinowski 2 is literally going to happen, unless someone else takes it off of Kalinowski before then. But if Parker can't take it off of Kalinowski, it's probably going to be Parker Kalinowski 2 at some point next season. But I do, speaking of that match, I do have to say this photo was taken by Sean Sullivan, and it captures the entire year. It captures everything for me. We were shuffled off of, Morrow was right backstage where she could, communicate, and he could look over at her, and that was really good. But we got shuffled off, and I realized that you could go sit in the balcony like kids with your feet dangling off. And so there we are. There's the Dungeon and Chance Ellison, who's unofficial Dungeon. It's always been said. And so, here we are watching Parker do the impossible, which is make it to Spectacular and compete for a belt. That's the impossible. The really impossible is beating Mike Kalinowski. But the impossible is getting there. And we are just so invested in this match. And all of a sudden, you're sitting there on this. I'm sitting up there. Me and Howie run up there. We sit up, and then Molly joins us, and then Chance is walking around, and then suddenly Kevin Smets shows up, and there's such a victory in all of this. I mean, you can't win every match, Robert Parker, but the victory in this to support Parker after 2 years with as a friend of Parker, and then Kevin Smets with everything he's been through in the last year to victoriously show up behind me while we're watching Parker. I mean, the feels were so there. But also, the other thing about this moment right here is, again, spoiler alert.
Your shoes?
My shoes? God,
those
things are so uncomfortable, but they look good. This is, towards the end of the match, it goes to sudden death. First of all, I mean, if I keep talking up the victories that Parker compiled this year, and not winning the belt is not a defeat. You made it here, and here are 2 Star Wars competitors on either side of me, and Parker goes into overtime against Kalinowski. Made the guy work to win that belt. He made him work. You go to overtime. We get several questions into overtime. It's exciting, and here we are. And I can't see Parker exactly because there's a speaker in my way, but Molly can and Howie can. And so each time he writes an answer, his board goes up, hiding from Mike, but pointing up towards us. And it's just a moment that I'll never forget. It's the moment of the year, even though it was a defeat for Parker. But the question was, big time spoiler here, the question was, whose first line in The Empire Strikes Back was, "There's been a great disturbance in the Force." Now, if you want to meet 3 people that know the answer to that question, they're sitting right there. And so Parker writes down his answer. He holds up his board. I can't see what he wrote, but I hear from my right, I hear Molly go, "Oh no," and I hear John go, "Oh," and it was just such an interesting moment. I mean, terrible for our boy Parker, but in terms of family, in terms of meeting Star Wars fans that are now family, like John Hoey and Molly Damon, that the last question, of course, it's a huge defeat for us. We're supposed to train him in all the Star Wars stuff. He misses on a Star Wars question. But, that's the backseat quarterback, too. 100 other things could have happened in the match, too, to not make it come down to Star Wars. So,
don't allow me to remind you, it's all luck. But anyway.
Absolutely. It's all luck. Who knows what questions are going to be drawn, and who knows who's going to know those questions. So for it to come down to a Star Wars question and to have Molly on my right and John on my left, and to hear her response and his response, and to be in that moment was something special. Unfortunate for our boy Robert Parker, but he's going to be right back. He's going to be right
absolutely.
back.
It was interesting to see Adam Collins not return to the singles fray as strong as he did last year.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling Parker will be back. I mean, I remember when I was drafted 2 years ago, there was a Dungeons turn to draft. I'm like, I'll probably go with Kaiser here. And
Kaiser wanted
Parker. I look around, I'm like, who the hell is Robert?
He's
got Smets. Why does he need another IG guy? Well, I mean, he said he was, just sort of a handcuff for Smets, and lo and behold, look what happened to Smets, and he couldn't play, so you guys had Parker to play.
Yeah, just by chance.
Yeah, and then I ended up going one more pick down to the Den. So yeah, I didn't know who this guy was, but he's certainly proven himself. So
yeah, he really is, and he's the greatest guy, and he's been adopted as the son of Dan and Mara, because they're probably not going to have kids, I assume, and so they have adopted Parker. We're both unsure who was right on that last one. That's true. Well, that's the other thing is he answered first, but they had both answered wrong at the same time several times. So you're like, okay, maybe Kalinowski doesn't get this one either, but he did have it, And so that was very sad. It was very upsetting, and it's like
drama, all the drama.
So much drama. Oh my God! And the audience doesn't even know backstage. You're back there and you're consoling him, and there's arguments about certain questions, and and of course. After every match, this, Paul, the managers walk away and go, what was with that question? What was it? If you've ever seen Sam Levine after a match, he just storms out the back of the canteen and it's like, they asked a Oscar winner for, he's always got the line on the last question that was asked that threw the whole thing off. And there's always that discrepancy, one of the complaints was that, one of them got which Jurassic Park question? Well, you only have 5 options there, and then the other one. This is earlier in the match, and then the other one got a tell me this completely obscure thing, So it's like, yeah, but that's the thing. It's luck, Those questions might have went the other way, Maybe Kalinowski would have got one that was like, name this incredibly hard thing, and Parker would have been like, name one of 5, But that's what's interesting about this. We approach this whole thing like a sport. It is a sport because we backseat quarterback the same way we do the Bengals game or whatever, like, why did he do this or why did he do that? But, in the heat of the moment, it's just, you can't do it that way.
And then I couldn't watch. I had to go. I was here.
You did have to go.
Yeah, I was at I was at an outdoor movie night in Burbank.
Of course, as one does.
When the movie guys are needed to host a screening of Elf, Paul Preston shows up and hosts that screening of Elf.
Paul is the world's greatest host. What is that behind you there? That's that weird bank building in Burbank.
That's my credit union, yes. This
is okay.
Uni Credit Union in
I love the architecture of that place.
Burbank. Yeah. And it's where they host outdoor movies. Now, it's been 2.5 years since we did one, so they wanted to come back. I'm like, I got to go do this. I'm not competing for a belt. I haven't even played a match in 6 months, so screw it. I went down. I hosted. I had a bag of stuff to give away. We were giving away elf ornaments and DVDs and elf hats and playing cards and all sorts of stuff for trivia. So we did trivia, and then I played little games like, holiday term or not. Wassail. Is it a holiday term? Condoleezza.
Okay.
Was Condoleezza one of the wise men? You don't know. Maybe if you're 10, you don't know. So that was fun. And, of course, we'll name that tune as well. Handed out all sorts of prizes and got the Christmas season underway with that. And normally in Burbank, they have something called Magnolia Holiday in the Park. So on Magnolia Boulevard, they do a huge Christmas thing. Canceled again.
Oh,
So we haven't had that in 2 years either. So this was the best we could have for something in Burbank that was Christmassy. So as you saw, yeah, a lot of people showed up, which was really cool. But you
that's
could be outdoors and be distanced. It was chilly. You got 2 food trucks in the back there. Santa showed up. There were some vendors selling hot cocoa and Christmas presents and things. So yeah, it was a big, cool event. I was happy to be part of it.
I was going to say, I'm freezing right now. I'm, 20 some years out of Ohio now, or I'm 14 years out of Chicago, and I'm freezing today. I don't know what, I'm sure it's 60 out there, and I'm just like, I gotta give me a blanket. So yeah, it's a nighttime screening. That's
Yeah, well, they had it at 5, which is why I had to leave early from the
yeah.
because I actually got the food trucks arrived at 3. I started at 4, so I only saw like the Shazam King Arthur match,
Okay.
and then I booted.
Yeah. Which one was that? Is that? Oh, that's that one.
That's That's Gilmore opening.
I
the
thought
show.
I had another one from the. I don't see it right now, but
That's afterwards.
that's afterwards.
Oh, good Lord.
Look at that.
Ah!
So, and thank you to all the crew who worked on the show. That's Alex Marzonia stacking chairs right there.
What a freaking! Oh, of course, there's a lot. Okay, there was some confetti. I remember.
Oh, at the end they blew the house off with silver confetti. They had some of the coolest effects. They had a bubble machine that blew smoke bubbles, little bubbles that when they burst had little fog in them, which
cool.
is awesome. Yeah, and then that at the end, like they blew the house open.
I was just about to bag on the fans and say, "You filthy bastards!" But okay, it's mostly confetti. All right, good. Clean up after yourselves.
And also, this whole thing was a triumph because this really was the true full break from quarantine. This is not a digital event. Everybody, and so there was a celebration there too that we could all be back together for the first time after 2 years. Paul, do you know how the show ended? Did I tell you this? The very end of the show?
Perhaps no. I mean, I don't know. I know the Wildberries reunited.
Wildberries reunited.
That Smets came out and said he was returning, and
That's
called
it.
out Andrew. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was just such a great moment because it was real big time wrestling feel, which we can't get over this. And I know it's very frustrating to Christian. He's like, the digital, you can't get in each other's face. You literally can't,
Yeah.
So the show ends. The belt is retained by icon Marisol McKee. Just they're one of the best things to happen in the Schmoedown, perhaps ever. And they're about to close the show, and it gets interrupted by Chandru, who takes the stage, the best heel in the Schmoedown, for my money. Comes out and says, it's such a great, but he comes out and starts complaining and all this stuff and calling people out and everything like that. And everybody's like, boo! Right. Right. It's an absolute stone cold moment. And they just, to have that type of moment back after digital, to like really do it. And yes, here comes, I know, it was just incredible. Here comes Smets, they open the curtain. There's the hoodie. There's the fog. The crowd is just, it's absolutely stone cold Steve Austin moment, and a really triumphant return for Kevin Smets, who obviously everybody would hear knows battled cancer, beat the shit out of it, and so he walks down there.
Looks better than me. It's kind of gross. Like I saw him, I'm like, how do you look better than I do? Good for him, man.
And he takes the stage and goes right in his face and goes, "Shut the hell up!" And it's like, that's classic WWE stuff. So man, that was really something. It really, God, just they put on a hell of a show. Hell of a show.
Well, the next morning, I guess 6 hours after people closed out Barney's Beanery with a post spectacular partying.
Yeah.
You were reuniting with some folks. I don't have any photos from this, except I might have one. Do I? I don't know.
I got a great photo that I have loaded up here too.
I got together with the Den.
Oh yeah, you guys had a den breakfast, right?
We had a den breakfast, which was cool to sort of, cheer and congratulate Thomas for his victory and, toast to a season well done. And who knows if we're done. You never know with the reboot. Who knows what? I mean, we've already brought back the Wildberries. I mean, anything goes. So we were like, well, if this was it, hey, that's fine, everybody.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we don't know. I mean, I have no idea. we don't know what the shape of the dungeon's going to be next year. It's not going to be as many people as it was this year. We know that. But
yeah. But I am wearing this shirt because Peggy Gubbins, always in the tie-dye, made one for every member of the den. So I'm
that's
happy
awesome.
to get I told her my favorite color, so she got me a green one.
Well, that's near and dear to my mom's heart. She makes tie-dye, loves wearing tie-dye. She went to a tie-dye hippie Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I love that's Peggy's thing.
Oh, did I miss something here? Is David telling me?
Kate's announcement. I might have missed Kate's announcement because I was downstairs prepping Parker before his match, so I didn't see the team's match or what happened before that. So what was Kate's announcement? Yeah. David, what was Kate's announcement? I missed it.
I don't know. But you'll have to elaborate, pal, because I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, we had a great lunch, and apparently that turned into people piling. Suddenly Ellis shows up. Suddenly some FCL people show up. Suddenly Christy B shows up, and next thing you know, that's a big party. I'm like, gotta leave again because Adam and I got to write jokes for last night's big finale to the weekend. Wonderful, crazy night, which was a music-filled evening that Adam and I had the pleasure of hosting.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh well, there you go. That's she kind of dissed the den and said the den is over. Okay.
Oh, I missed that because I was downstairs with Parker.
I knew that. I didn't know if it was announced.
Okay.
She told me that, and
okay.
So yeah.
So that's it for the den.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, that's what's going to be real interesting.
That's
drama.
what 6th place will get you.
Yeah. Yeah, the dungeon won't be going away, but it'll be changing for sure.
I feel like this is breaking news for me. Now this guy says after she confirmed what players she was keeping. All right, so it's not dead. She's keeping some players, and I'm out. What? Okay, listen. This is
okay.
This is news.
That's interesting. Well, it's so funny.
News, but we're not breaking it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I feel a little out of the loop. People are asking me like, "Oh, what's going on in season?" I'm like, I don't know, but
I had to go massage Parker.
Yeah, exactly. I was with Parker the whole time, but I forget where I was going there. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, wonderful, crazy night. If you don't know, was a number of Schmoedown personalities performing music. You had Marzonia, you had Ben Bateman, you had The Fate Stay, which features our own music maker David B. And then Wonderful Crazy Night itself is a tribute to Billy Joel, Elton John, and Meatloaf, started up by Chris Clark. Justin the Juice sat in on guitar, so it was indeed a wonderful, crazy night. We were happy to host that event, and there's no video of it streamed on Twitch, but there was no video, so we could say some of the jokes here that we
could do our thing. Let me check real quick because I was trying to track down the footage. But I don't think it's been downloaded and put on the cloud anywhere. I did have access to it, but I don't think it's there yet. So so we can do our jokes. That's fine.
I mean, I think we were talking about Shazam and King Arthur, much like the comic book character Shazam. The team combines the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, and the spastic energy of Crispin Glover on meth. That's accurate. Tough to watch.
That's a good one. Let's see. Let me get down to our jokes here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Shazam is the championship team made up of soap magnate William Bibiani and chick magnate Brendan Meyer.
Yes, Shazam and King Arthur. No doubt these team names were picked to dispel the rumor that this shit is only for nerds.
And much like the real King Arthur, this team is built on the search for their own holy grail. But first they had to build an uneasy alliance with the crazy shirtless wizard. Star Wars champ
Harper beat DiMolanta.
Yeah, he retained the belt. Congratulations to both competitors. You finally found a place where any of this is acceptable.
And I had to ask Thomas at the time, what's the correct amount of time to wait to break to your date that an off-putting amount of Star Wars knowledge? In my experience, it's never.
No, not going to happen.
Yeah, he has kids. Found the right person.
Thomas served his country in the Army. Thank him for the service. Now, this season, I got to play Thomas Harford for the first and definitely the last time. And I will say Thomas is a real gentleman because I called him a jag, and he didn't take offense to that at all.
All Harper does is beat DiMolantes. That got a groan, by the way.
That did.
To which I asked, how old is Kayla? Better start teaching her bounty hunter names. Although in her family, it wouldn't surprise me if her first word was Dengar. Anyway. So
I think it's the only joke that got a groan, wasn't it? Oh, no. Burning Droog's got it.
Well, there were a lot of ohs, oh.
Yeah,
But
well,
I have to say,
it's meant for that. That's
we
not
goofed
a
on-
boo.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
That's a
this is
yay
row.
and that's a yay in sunglasses. Yeah.
Yeah, much like go to Gig Salad and hire me for your movie trivia. You need a roast? Get Adam and I on board. We'll come and just lay waste to your group, like we did last night.
Yeah,
And,
but groans are yays in a trench coat. Mike Kalinowski retained the Inner Geekdom belt. Sorry, I read that wrong. Goddamn, Mike Kalinowski retains the Inner Geekdom belt. I'm surprised Parker didn't win. Show a picture of these two staying together to anyone on Earth, and they'll tell you which one's the nerd.
And I'm sorry for Parker, but any day you can pick up a copy of The Phantom and not watch it is a victory in itself.
Now, this is the only belt match.
Marisol beats Griffin Newman. She remains the movie trivia Schmoedown champ. She did all this while being blind. She got the idea for the blindfold when Bobby Gucci tried to get her opinion on the layout of his nude calendar. She never took it off since, just in case. Wise move.
Corruption handed a season champion took a season championship away from Bobby Gucci, and despite that, the guy's got a movie out about him. I've met the man. I've seen his house. I don't know how they stretch it out to 2 hours.
Yeah, maybe they spent more time in the jacuzzi than I did. Hollywood, I beg you, do not greenlight House of Mance.
Despite losing the teams and singles matches, Griffin Newman created history by competing in both for his rookie season. I believe he's here, but he's not used to being out of New York, so I think he's in his safe space, the bathroom.
Yes, Griffin Newman is the biggest name to come out of the bathroom since Elvis Presley didn't. And that got a groan. And I
best
was like,
joke of the night.
soon.
And you said too soon, which got a huge laugh.
44 years, come on.
That got a huge laugh. Too soon.
All right, well, we had a match that John Roca was calling The Last Ride. Dan Merle beat Roca in that square-off in a match he's calling Saturday.
If this is the last ride, you'd think Roca would want to go out with a sure thing win, like against someone like Flirtenflaus or Adam Witt. But he took on Merle, so I guess this really is it.
Yes, like Clem Bevins and other fake cowboys before him, Roca will retire to the motion picture and television country house in Woodland Hills, California.
It was quite an accomplishment to put on that show, so that's a thank you. Well, I did say that again. Thank you to Skybound and Courtney and Kim. Yeah,
then we just kind of goofed around the room.
Yeah, we goofed around the room. Yeah, and then we in between each other act, we would roast the room, and people would be coming up going, "Oh, do me next."
Yeah, and we did. We wrote one on the fly for chance. We said Mike Kalinowski couldn't make it tonight. I know he was going to arrive because he bought this great outfit, really, with a coat with long tails, but the tails got ruined because Chase was riding them. Chance was right. So the coat tails got ruined because Chance was riding them. Anyway, yeah, Alex Marzonia is playing tonight, but he's not playing here. If you want to see him, you can head down to the FCL year-end concert just down the street in a smaller venue.
Oh, gross.
Oh, and then the Adams yelled at me, which was fun.
That was good. Yeah. So it was
we
fun.
We had a blast. There were some sound issues which drove us crazy. Hey, it's the picks.
Yeah.
Marzonia saying he started things off.
Let's see. Ben Bateman.
Ben was great.
He was great.
I know he wrote and stuff, and I hear those songs. I'm like, pretty good, man. He gets up there and he's just vulnerable and talented and just honest, and you root for him. I don't know. Hey, I don't know what there is to root for in a song, but you just like, I just want this to go great, and it does. And people are singing along, which means they bought his. He came up to us beforehand. He was like, "This is the first time I'm going to be in a live venue, and people might be singing along my song." And he was like, visibly touched by that, and it's just a shame to say that the tour couldn't happen. But last night was great for him and for us because we got to see a great set. He's a good singer-songwriter. Well,
that's the thing about this group. We all pick each other up, and obviously Smets is the biggest example of that. That we picked him up. Oh, did we blink out there?
I did. We pick up Kevin.
Yeah, but Ben's been through the surgery. He's it's rough. I've had the same surgery, and so it's like you need a win, you need a victory. Not only did this raise some money for him, Which, by the way, if you still want to contribute, because I have to contribute as well. Do we have the address on that? If anybody wants to contribute to
you know, I
Ben's?
can type that in real quick because it is
Can you type that in real quick?
easy to remember.
Yeah, he started to GoFundMe for medical bills, but also because I think he booked venues for this tour that he now can't do. And so last night was to raise money for him to pay off those debts. And, you know, just the way this community picks each other up, I mean, it just meant the world to Ben Bateman last night, that everybody was there, sang along, and he was just so excited to get on stage and sing the song, and everyone sung along. And he even had that moment backstage too. He goes, wow, I wonder if people are going to be singing along to my song, you know?
StreamElements.com/Chris Clark 8788/tip.
Oh, that's great
of Chris to really put the whole night on, and then of course to make much of it a benefit for Ben was really
I mean, and to have something like this to bring us all together and not have to compete and put on a show. And so, well, we had to put on a show, but barely. But you know, that just was really great of Chris to do. Everybody got to show off their other talents, and our stand-up got complimented by Mark Ellis. That was a huge compliment. That was good for as good for my soul as people singing along to Ben was for his, I assume.
This is a good idea. I should have come up with it. Pay me at themovieguys.net. That's where you send them. But yeah, it was a great night. Did we get the final shot here of Chris and his band? They had so many sound issues.
We got some others.
Crazy.
There's David B. and Fate Stay. Or The Fate Stay? The Fate Stay.
The Fate Stay, yeah. Hey, it's us. Oh, sorry.
Hey, look at that. Man, there's a transition between bands there.
I know I have a pic of...
Oh, there's a blurry one of Marzonia. I got to get a new phone with a new camera. This is just the... I mean, good God, look at this. I mean, you know, look at this. Here's such an epic moment. You got all these people up in the balcony. That thing's blurry as shit. Looks terrible. I have got to get a new phone with a new camera. Or just a new camera.
Yeah, it's like some kind of I guess, yeah, there's no focus there, is there? I thought maybe it's like a deep focus. Nope, there's no focus. No. Here's Chris and his band.
Oops, sorry, I was taking that off. Oop.
Hey, you son of a...
Ah.
All right, there's
there they are.
Wonderful Crazy Night.
Yeah. Covers of Meatloaf and
Billy Joel and Elton John.
Billy Joel and Elton John?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was a understatement.
Understatement, David. Understatement. The guy, as because I was out back, I was talking to Kaiser and everything like that. You know, I was kind of in and out and stuff. Yeah, he was passed out.
I saw that 3 or 4 times, just sitting at the sound booth. Like, meanwhile, they got no audio. The piano player's managing to play, so they're just like doing sing-alongs of Queen and stuff, like just to like pass the time until the audio can get corrected. But the guy's passed out, so he can't correct it. Justin the Juice is running up there. Dwayne's running up there. People are trying to get this venue on track, and the Mint's like a legendary place. You yourself said at the top of the thing. Mick Jagger's played there. Who the hell else? Did you say?
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan.
Yeah, I had them all listed off.
Just to let you know that, like, I mean, who knows what sort of varying moments in their career.
Oh, Bon Jovi, Shaka Khan, Herbie Hancock,
there you go.
Earth, Wind and Fire, Mick Jagger, Bonnie Raitt, but not one of them knew who played the bad guy in Cliffhanger.
That's
our joke for last night. That's not the case tonight.
Yeah, but that guy. If he did that to any of them, I don't know why he thought I can get drunk and blow my head out on coke, you know, during this event. Why are we so different? Don't be a douche. That guy was
be a professional. Well, and that's the thing too. You and I were out back, we're talking, and out comes Chris Clark, and we're like, oh, are we supposed to be on? You know, if Chris is back here, like, who's on are we supposed to be out there? So we immediately start to run in, and you know, and then we heard there's all these problems. We run in, and we start to get the full story. And when you told me the full story, you go, I guess the sound guy is just drunk and passed out. And I turn around and look at him, and and there in the sound booth is him. Like, as you said that, you go, yeah, I guess the guy's kind of drunk tonight. I look over and
Chris needs a refund, and that guy needs to get fired. So I hope those two things happen.
Absolutely. Well, I really, you know, I have issues, you know, dealing with some things like that. But boy, Sullivan was all over. He's like, no, I'm taking care of this. I could tell Sullivan's a guy who's complained and gotten his money back. And he's like, no, Chris, I got this. So I think I think, yeah, and I think Ellis knew someone who worked there too. So yeah, hopefully they got that all worked out because that was unfortunate and really sad because we were hanging out with Mark Eberhoik the whole night, and he did this spoken word piece before the song, and I didn't know the reference. I guess that song begins with a spoken thing on the album. So Mark was doing that. Well, okay, spoken word is we know stand up and all that sort of stuff, but like a spoken word is really hard. You need all the, you need the mic to really amplify your voice and all that stuff. The mic was down, and then there was they're playing feedback, and I'm feeling bad because it's it's hard to, in the audience, it's late in the night anyway, so it's hard to get the audience's attention. And I know he was really proud of being able to get up and do that, and then they just fucked him. They really fucked him. I mean, the poor guy. And then they started playing music while he's doing his piece, and it's it was bad enough to begin with that you weren't giving enough mic to get the audience's attention enough, and then playing feedback over it. And then when the mic finally started coming in, and then they started playing music, and I was like, I wanted to go up and strangle the guy at that point. I was like, well, now you're literally screwing with the person on stage. You're trying to make them look bad, and I felt so bad for him. He was so bummed. But
I've just known that place to be a respectable joint, but now I'll look twice in the future.
That guy better get fired, and Chris better get his money back. And
Also, do we have any time to talk about movies?
You want to talk about Free Guy?
Big weekend. I'll talk about Free Guy. Hey, we're going to finally talk about Free Guy. Let's do it. Because to me, I hear this coming in December. This is exactly what a summer movie should be.
Here it comes.
We finally got there, but it's absolutely true. Delivers big on its premise. You get a big star in a role in which he's perfectly cast. Special effects, action, comedy. It's got everything. I don't know if you watch it at home now. I don't know where it is, but that movie Free Guy was fantastic. I loved every second.
Yeah, great effects.
That's impossible, even for a computer.
But the thing I liked about Free Guy is that I find these games hilarious when I play them. When I get into Grand Theft Auto, the first thing I do is drive like a complete idiot because you're working the controls or whatever. And I'm like, when you take it from the point of view of, because the game's so cool and he's a cool guy and he's got his cool crime shit. All right, guys, I'm going to go do some cool crime shit for you. And then he gets to the car and he just crashes in, drives into a mall. You're like, if you watch this in a movie, that's just absolute hilarity. So yeah, they take that point of view. Somebody else has obviously found these things as funny as I do because they take that point of view of the non-player character, NPC character who works at the bank and just gets robbed every day and gets robbed every day and robbed every day. I mean, that point of view, that's just so wonderful. And then they play everything out perfectly because, yeah, if you lived in the city from Grand Theft Auto or Warzone or whatever, it's just it's nothing but crashing helicopters and just random stuff. So I thought they really captured that well. I mean, because I crack up when I play those games. I've been playing Warzone, which is the world's hardest game. It's impossible. And, it's
That's impossible, even for a computer.
But there's modes where you're trying to accomplish something, but it's just crashing, flaming helicopters and rockets and things exploding from behind you. It's just, they really captured the atmosphere of what it would be like to live in one of these games because I find them hilarious.
And on top of that, you have outside the game, the two startup coders who developed the game, and it's what they claim that had been stolen from them. So the film had a difficulty of doing split focus, everything going on in the world of Ryan Reynolds' non-player character and everything going on in the real world with the game itself, and how he's becoming a popular character because he's become sentient. People are watching, but the developer's not so sure about it, and he doesn't want to be found out as perhaps maybe having stolen the game idea. So something like Air Force One, I hate to say anything bad about Harrison Ford, but I loved what Ford and Oldman were doing on the plane. Everything going on the ground, I didn't care so much.
Right.
So it was a split focus movie that I only cared about half of it. I cared about half it more than the other. But both parts of this movie I thought were interesting and full of good actors. Jodie Comer, who was so great in The Last Duel. This was her first big movie of the year. And Joe Keery from Stranger Things were the coders. And, of course, Taika Waititi doing a comedic stroll through the movie as well was very funny. So, I liked all that as well.
And it's a complete surprise that we're even going to leave the game it's about 30 minutes in, your classic first act break, I believe, that they go outside the game and you're like, oh, I didn't know this was going to happen. So then it's like, it just kind of keeps filling you with more energy and everything. So it's very
and
energetic.
there's a sweetness going on that doesn't seem forced. Somehow they manage to end up being extremely likable characters when they have to be, but then goofy when they need to be as well. Sometimes that's a tough balance as well. So again, Sean Levy, who made some movies I just don't care about, like The Internship,
Pink Panther 2?
Pink Panther, yeah, Cheaper by the Dozen. But I kind of liked Real Steel, and I do like his work on Stranger Things. I think Stranger Things might have lead him more towards.
I didn't know he worked on that.
Yeah, being a bit Night at the Museum I also liked as well. So he's got a mixed bag of a career, but here I think it finally all came together, and hopefully from here on out everything he does is something that I go all in on as well, because he picks interesting subjects. He's not making just like some lame-o thing that a billion people have done. There always seems to be some kind of reach in his projects. But, and Channing Tatum again. Where's he been? So I was happy to see him.
Did he show up in that? God, now I'm forgetting this movie. Now I need to watch it again, I think, because we wanted to talk about this 6 months ago.
He was the non-player character. Well, he wasn't a non-player character. He was one of the avatars for some big-timey player, and then he would often come across him in the match or in the world of the game.
Yeah. Really good movie. Well, now I want to watch it again because you just reminded me. I forgot Taika Waititi's in it. Yeah.
I see your point.
All right. Well, listen, we could talk a whole bunch of other crap, but let's just do one more thing and get out, because we never get out close to.
I got to go back to work. I woke up and went to work this morning, and so I'm taking a little break to entertain the masses and talk about last night, which is good. A recap of the recap event of the recap. So,
you tell us all about Terminator, and I'll tell you all about the Ford Fiesta. Go ahead.
Okay.
Here it comes.
So the Terminator, I didn't talk about this last week because I was training with Parker, and that was one of the things I was watching. I don't know. One question I did ask him during training came up in the match. That was fun. That's fun when you feel like you've done your job, which was what was the Paul, you will know this, in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. When at the end of the movie, when asked what he got on his search for the Grail, what is Henry Jones' one-word answer?
It's not just the answer; it's the vintage Connery delivery of such a answer. You may need to see my face to do it, but it's illumination. It's the
boom. Illumination.
And the little nod of the head.
But I watched all the Terminator movies, and I got to tell you,
chill out, dickwad.
I watched all the Terminator movies, and Terminator is one of my favorite movies of all time. Terminator 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, these are, if there weren't so many good movies, I'd say top 10 movies. They're probably closer to top 20. But like way up there, I just adore Terminator and Terminator 2. I hate Terminator 3. However, I wanted to watch it for Parker, and also, I haven't seen it in a while. Let me just give this another shot, and it's egregiously okay. It's a 90s movie, even if it didn't come out in the 90s. But
did I turn you at all into some of the things that I do enjoy about it? I don't love that movie, but when I move and I have a new sound system to test out, I can put in the crane truck police car chase scene. I think that's well staged. I love the fact that they didn't they didn't shy away from an ending where they killed the entire planet.
Well, that's true. Yeah, no,
but there's much that is not good. But I do.
There's much that is not good. It's so much that's plain Jane with the effort. Okay, well let me back up here. One thing you don't realize when you watch The Terminator, and if you shift your point of view to a first-time viewer, the movie gets exponentially better, and it's already good. But the way that movie is paced out, and we've always known that Kyle Reese is the good guy and the Terminator is the bad guy. But that movie doesn't let you know. If you're in a theater and you haven't seen a trailer, maybe it wasn't even in the trailer, you think two people are out for Sarah Connor, and it plays that plot out as though that's the case. But even when you realize that he's there to save her, which is an amazing end of the first act, come with me if you want to live, changes the plot of the entire movie. And then you realize that like he doesn't have any of the benefits of this other guy and all this stuff. Same thing with Terminator 2. We've always known that the Terminator T-800 is the good guy and that the T-1000 is the bad guy. But when you take that off and you watch that as a first-time viewer, the way that plays its game out is underrated because we've always known that plot twist. But that movie does not play as though you know that plot twist, and even after it's revealed, still Sarah has to meet the T-800 and she freaks out and all that stuff. And then she, of course, can't get over what she feels. So anyway, when you watch those two from the point of view of having not seen the movie, it's like that, the structure. A lot of people complain about movie writing, or they'll complain about James Cameron's writing in Titanic. What simpletons mean is dialogue. Writing is not dialogue. Writing is writing. And the structure of those movies and Titanic and all that stuff is immaculate. I will never accept the idea that James Cameron is a bad writer. You mean you don't like his dialogue, to specify. But his writing, the way those are structured, is just amazing. Just really amazing. And a marvel to see. Okay, and the other movies that get pissed on, maybe rightfully, but definitely by people that have only watched them once. Terminator Genesis, Terminator Salvation, and Terminator Dark Fate are fantastic movies. They are really, I've now seen those movies, and I liked them the first time because, hey, free Terminator movie, right? I'll say that about Terminator 3. Superman 3, not good? Hey, free Christopher Reeve's Superman movie. What do you want from me? So, hey, free Terminator movie. But now I've watched each of those maybe 3 times. I'm working on now Dark Fate, watching it for the 3rd time. And these are just great movies. These are great what-ifs in the Terminator universe that actually don't betray anything. I think literally the only thing that makes any of those movies is that Sarah dies in T3, that she died. And all the what ifs of like, oh, what was it like for John to have those tapes from her? And now he's got to send John back. They cover all that stuff. Terminator Genesis is convoluted, but it is clever. Clever, because that movie begins as though we're just watching Terminator with Kyle Reese going back. I mean, we start in the future. But then the surprise that, oh, now there's a T-800 or T-850 here to kill the T-800 from the original one. And then, of course, it's a time travel movie. Of course, this is a plot that can play out. And, of course, then they send a Terminator back to kill Sarah as a kid. And, of course, they send another one that then raised her and is now her. It's just like, this is just clever stuff. And that they embark on the mission to kill Skynet before it's born, which, of course, is the plot of the first one. They killed John before he's born. It just takes everything somehow takes everything into account to make that movie. Oh, and when Kyle Reese goes, at the beginning, when he runs into the first cop and he's like, what day is it? The date in the original Terminator. That cop, which we now know the cop symbolically being a T-1000, is now a T-1000. What if Kyle Reese comes back to 84 and the first cop he runs into is a T-1000? And they do all that. And it's just like, that movie is just such a remarkable movie to behold. And I think Dark Fate holds all the different balls in the air, things that we like about Terminator 84 as well. Instead of all these warriors and stuff, let's go back to the waitress that has to save the world. They got a factory worker girl, and now symbolically it's an INS dressed as a Terminator instead of the cops. And, so it's, I just think those movies just rock. And the For John thing from Dark Fate, the fact that the T-800 then kills John Connor. They sent another one, and he now has nothing left to do. That was his only programming, and he spends his life learning about human beings and then helping Sarah take out all the other Terminators because that. He signs off for John, which is just like... Anyway, I think those movies are quite remarkable. Really just accomplishments. And if you're a Terminator fan, you just got to love those. Terminator Salvation is the Wizard of Oz, 10-minute search for... Yeah? Oh, gosh, yeah. Good call. Yeah, that's a great analysis. You're right. Yeah. God, good point, Garth. This is... interesting
take. And that movie has some killer action sequences. And,
yeah.
in it. I don't.
Yeah, not some
being
crane bullshit from
emotionally
Terminator
moved
3.
so much. Yeah.
Because the thing that sucks about the crane thing, and I get why you test a stereo system out with that. The thing is, like, they just chose a vehicle that would accidentally destroy more shit while driving down the street. It's not good. It's not a good action sequence.
Yeah.
It's like a good high concept for an action sequence, but it's like, that's another thing that annoys me about that movie. It's like this. I mean, you compare that to the real thick action you get in Terminator Salvation and Terminator 2 and all this stuff, and it's just like it's a thing that would just destroy a lot of stuff if you drove it down the street. That's really like it's not because the other one did this and then it did this and then it jumped onto the thing.
Yeah, it's like the opening of Beverly Hills Cop. They got a big truck to smash a bunch of cars.
Just smash a bunch of shit.
Terminator 2 is top 5 action movies of all time. Perhaps top 10 movies, top 10 movies ever. I mean, is there anything that doesn't work in that movie?
No.
Everything works, and everything is not an easy, simple choice.
And here's the other thing about that movie, and I think others are structured this way too. And I think Terminator and Terminator 2, James Cameron is so good at this that he gets his hero into trouble and then gets him right out, and you feel this victory. And then, you go, oh, but that gave away their location to the T-1000 or whatever. Like everything, you're like, oh, well, now they're in it deeper. They got out of that. Oh, no. Oh, they got out of that one. Oh, no. Like it's just constant. It's such good writing. Good writing. Yeah. Oh, and one other thing, I said this backstage about Terminator Salvation. That is, of course, the movie where Christian Bale, and if we had time to prep for this show today, we'd have some Christian Bale drops, but the famous Christian Bale, blow up on set. You watched Terminator Salvation. It's maybe now my 4th or 5th time watching that movie. He is at that level the entire movie. Yeah. Everything that happens in that movie from John Connor is spoken like this. Which is what you want from John Connor. I mean, the idea of having Christian Bale as John Connor to begin with makes that movie a 10. Period. I don't care what else happens in that, But that performance is awesome. And of course he blew up on that. He is at that level the entire movie. The entire runtime of that movie, he is the most intense performance I've ever seen. Name a performance more intense than him as John Connor in that, which is what I want. Yeah. If we stay the course, we're all dead.
Good for you!
Oh, good for you!
Da-da-da-da-da.
What the fuck is it with you? Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of Bale, I do want to mention one thing about with West Side Story's coming out this week, and the are amazing. Actually,
it looks amazing.
I'm thrilled because it seems like why remake it? They've closed the book on it. I know they do the play every year in 500 different locations across the country, but apparently Spielberg knocks out of the park. So I can't wait to see that.
Well, nobody likes that movie more than Spielberg. We don't like that movie more than Spielberg. So, of course, and he really does it. He really, what is it with Bart Kaius? Oh, happy birthday to Bart Kaius today.
Oh, yeah. A movie guy.
Classic movie guy. Oh, I could have pulled some Bart drops from the old show. It would have been fun. But again, no time to produce this show. But as Bart Kaius always say, what do you want in a sequel? The same but different.
Yeah.
Or what do you want in a remake? The same. Give me the same but different.
But also is Don't Look Up. This is the new Adam McKay film. Who we used to see Adam
looks
McKay
amazing.
Performing at Second City all the time in Chicago, and he was just hilarious and edgy, and then he went to SNL, and now he's Oscar-winning pedigree guy. I want to just list the cast.
Crazy.
You mentioned Christian Bale. Here are the cast from his last 3 films. Like the guy from Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, and the other guys has assembled these casts for his last 3 films. The Big Short, Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt, Jeremy Strong, Marissa Tomei, Finn Wittrock, Hamish Linklater, Tracy Letts, Karen Gillan, Billy Magnuson, Margot Robbie, and Selena Gomez. Vice, 2018.
Here it comes.
Christian Bale, Amy Adams, Steve Carell, Sam Rockwell, Tyler Perry, Allison Pill, Jesse Plemons, Eddie Marson, Bill Camp, and Shea Wiggum. So now, Don't Look Up comes out. It's a story.
Here it comes.
It's the story of a couple of people who find out that a meteor is going to hit Earth. It's like a meteor hitting Earth movie, but he puts a whole twist on it and makes it like a modern day. What if the world doesn't believe him? Or they have to make this marketing campaign to get people to buy into it.
It is a slaying of current news media, because this is what would happen.
And apparently, climate change somehow gets skewered as well, or the lack of.
Well, it is. It's a symbol for climate change because we're about to fry. We're about to die.
Yeah,
everyone's like, ha 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 ha. Yeah.
And he's brought together this cast: Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Rob Morgan, Jonah Hill, Mark Rylance, Tyler Perry, Timothy Chalamet, Ron Perlman, Ariana Grande. Now, what if your cast only had the people I'm going to mention from here on? Kate Blanchett, Meryl Streep, Hamish Patel from yesterday, Matthew Perry, Chris Evans, Melanie Linsky, Gina Gershon, Michael Chiklis, and Paul Guilfoyle.
I'm with you too.
And Mark Hamill as the Beeve. But can you imagine? I mean, he was just sitting there making dick jokes on the Second City stage.
Yeah.
Well, he never did that, of course.
No.
He did all sorts of. I was just quoting him this weekend. We were talking about some scene with some crazy sketch he did back at Second City where two people were dating, and they said, "I go to State U." "Oh yeah, I go to U of State." "Oh, let's go to a loud, crowded place." I believe that anyone who's a communist should be struck on the ear with the butt of a rifle until bleeding or something. Like they had this crazy scene about two people dating. And anyway, Adam McKay is a bit of genius.
Best name for a Second City show, also, Pinata Full of Bees.
It is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. I look forward to see that.
Very. And that's Netflix, right?
Yeah, but I got to get out to the theater and see it. I live in LA.
Yeah, it's out there.
Harder They Fall was worth seeing in the theater. Same with Power of the Dog, and now I got to go see this as well. So,
well, I've put so much work in the last few weeks. I had time to do nothing, and so this week I just want to go to the movie theater every night. And I think Ms. 45 is tonight or tomorrow.
At the New Beverly.
Beverly. I got to go see Ms. 45. I think that's tomorrow night. I hope it's tomorrow night because I have work to do still.
All right, well, we'll let you go do it by signing off here and reminding you that you tune in every Monday here at 3 p.m. Pacific for Movie Nonsense. Check out the Ford Fiesta. We still have to record the beginning half of the. Wow, I got planes. Still have the first half of More American Graffiti to record. That we'll post that. That'll be the next one with our guest William Bibbiani.
Yeah. Yeah, William Bibbiani's coming up, and that's a fun movie too. So yeah, but meanwhile, right now, if you haven't seen the current episode, we are featuring Frisco Kid. So find out what that line's all about, and you want to.
And like I do in my garage, I go on an archaeology hunt, like Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. And this time I found something from 2008 that somebody sent me when I was all hyped up to see Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Mm-hmm. And it is a sort of, I guess must be a magazine ad promoting the opening of the film in, you got me on what language that is, but I think it's Japan, because
I would say Japan.
On the back it says it's coming to USA in May, and then Japan it's coming to June.
Yeah, I would say
I don't know why
Japanese.
that part decided to be in English, but Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Japan.
It's a good poster. That is, I mean, that silhouette of that guy, man.
Yeah.
It's just that silhouette can do no wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Major move!
Yeah, I like that.
So, that's this week's Harrison Ford Artifact, and that's the show. Thanks to Steve Scholes, who does some writing for the show every week. We appreciate that.
Steve Lewis for the trivia up top.
Yep. And we'll be back next week, as we always are.
Yeah. And we'll take all that time we spent writing a whole stamp thing, and we'll come up with some bits for this show. So, but thank you all for watching. And
I know most of the comedy writing this week went to last night's live event.
It went to last night's live event. But you all understand. You're just here for our wonderful personalities, right?
Shut up, Ralph.